welcome to Part the Bus. It's a football podcast that talks everything Scottish football from up and down the country. It's just myself, Cammy, and Mr. Andy Dixon tonight. Mr. Keen Hunter has been car shopping, and I think he's kind of dropped a hint. He's dropped a hint. He's away, and he's shagging mobile. But anyway, you and Armour also didn't tell us what he's up to either, so it could be them two away together.
Well, maybe.
You never know. But how you? You all right? You recovered from your antics on Monday night?
Fucking knackered me. I was absolutely shattered after that.
It's a long night. It's a long day, a long night.
To be fair, we've actually slated them, but the two of them done really well. So,
fair dues them. I've finished editing as well. Check it out. It's also on YouTube now. As we speak, also this podcast will be out a few days later, but yeah, check it out. It's on our YouTube channel. It'll be on our socials if you want to get any other info on that night. It's a bit of a press day as well. Kieran and Ewan made the trip on Saturday morning up to Recreation Park to see what was the crack with the press conference, and it was quite a funny story about that one. It was BBC, Sky Sports, and
Part the Bus.
So it's like a dream come true kind of moment. I couldn't make it because of work commitments and other stuff. So yeah, it's one of them moments you think, you know what, we've done it. It's brought a lot of attention to the club. Just want to say thanks for the previous time and thanks for this time as well. If it wasn't for Jordan and everyone else associated, obviously there's a good interview as well. Say Mick in the previous one, but it's also the full press conference as well. The snippets are in the video. We've also got interviews with John later on in that video, pre-game and post-match. We've also got interviews with Sam North, Footy Adventures. People will know him very well, putting Scottish football on the map through his YouTube channel. We've also got Blair McNally. He talks a wee bit about the game as well, post-match. So yeah, basically it's great to see that people are getting involved and up for a wee chat. But also, big news. It's my turn to say it. Got a wee email the other night. I thought, what's this? Here we go. So we are now sponsored by Starner. Starner, obviously a clothing brand, and basically they reached out to us. Very nice, eh?
I think I need it word for word.
I'm gonna. You caught me off guard there. You caught me off guard. But yeah, basically, Starner is an independent fashion brand from Scotland. We create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. Inspired by the terrace culture, lifestyle and music, all of our clothing is designed using quality materials, workmanship to combine the very best style and fit. All of this means you get the premium quality fashion at affordable prices while enjoying a simple and secure service. It's that simple. So if you ever want to get some Starner, visit the www.starnerapparel.co.uk, and basically you can get 10% off through our unique promo code. Whoever thought you'd ever say that, eh?
I know.
But yeah, if you type in on the discount bit, Park the Bus Pod, all one word, that will give you 10% off for all our listeners on Park the Bus. So that'll be on everything every week. We'll post some socials about it. We'll be everything.
We'll be wearing it because.
What's that?
We'll be wearing it because I'm going to start ordering.
We'll be wearing it, aye. So yeah, get yourself involved. Also, discount code again is Part the Bus Pod. It will be tagged along somewhere about here or up there somewhere in the video.
Watching on YouTube, and
if not, just check the socials, Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all that we'll be putting up as well. Watch this space as well. There'll be more to come from Starner and us, and just keep an eye out on the socials and also check out the YouTube videos as well. So thanks much. It's very appreciated that they're up for it.
Thank you to Grumble, friend of the show as well, who actually put Starner in our direction. So thank you to him. Obviously.
Yeah, we've been looking for one for a while, looking for wee kind of collabs and that. And I think it's just came at the perfect time. We're hitting the numbers that we're looking for and taking things to the next level, hopefully.
Yep, definitely.
Well, let's get cracked on. Let's go for the numero uno. It was the Scottish Cup, obviously, as we discussed earlier on. Yep. Mr. Dixon, Kieran Hunter and Ewan went on Monday night to Recreation Park, but there also was other fixtures, obviously. And other fixtures, basically, consisted of, well, pretty much lower league teams, to say the least. I mean, the draw was made that night, which was, I didn't even kind of explain it. It was one of them ones that there's a lot of rumours that Viaplay wouldn't let Thingy to do the draw on that night, which is a bit embarrassing to say the least, I think.
Yeah.
But there's loads of rumours about that kind of stuff, so they had to do it in the SPFL, SFA, Scottish Cup page, YouTube, whatever it was, live on that system. So basically, Monday night it was 5-1 to Falkirk. Obviously, check out the vlog, as I said. Brilliant coverage throughout the night. A quick recap on that one. 5-1. It didn't really. It flatters Falkirk because of the 10 men. Obviously, they 2-1 up. Darvel get the kind of most flukish goal of the season, I think, in the Scottish Cup, to get it back to 2-1. And basically, after the red card, everyone thought, here we go. And right enough, 5-1 it finished. I watched it on the telly and that.
Darvel came out the first half the same way they came out in the second half. I think it would have been a different story. They came out, they won, they didn't have the tempo, they didn't have they weren't pressing as hard as maybe they did Aberdeen.
Yeah.
And Falkirk are a well organised team. And
it looked good. John McGlynn's got them gone. Yeah,
and I think if you want to beat somebody, if you want to upset anyone, and this includes us if you want to win at Parkhead or Ibrox or even beat them at our graphs, that everything has to go wrong for them and everything has to go right for us. And it just was one of the rights, is that Falkirk were well organised. They stuck to their jobs. They stuck to what they needed to do. Got Darvel, and especially the second goal, they caught them so quickly as well. And it's obviously dangerous sometimes if you do concede another, and that showed it. Is that again they just went up the park and scored, and obviously Darvel came into the game and then pushed them in the second half, and they probably were all over them in the second half. They were the better team up until the red card.
They looked good. They looked like they were going to get another one, of course.
Aye, definitely. And then the professional, obviously, they're full time. So you've got the extra man, they're full time, the fitness, and the organisation just showed, unfortunately. So again, the dream's over, but the memories last forever at Darvel. So
yeah, you kind of see many times that you've been involved with press twice in the matter of weeks and seen pretty much two massive games.
Yeah.
Crowds that have never ever been at Recreation Park, and I think, well, the way they looked at it is the Aberdeen game was a cup final, as they say, you know, and they won the cup final. This game, there's a glimmer of hope, and as you said, was it a case of complacency? Was it a case of Falkirk just being actually the team on form, if you know what I mean? The Aberdeen is not a team on form, eh?
Falkirk are in a better place. They're in a better place than Aberdeen were. Aberdeen were an absolute basket case. They probably still are to an extent. Falkirk aren't that. They are closing in on them filming in the league.
No, yeah, 100%.
I think that it's going to be, and obviously there's like, it then comes out to people before the game were like, people like, Darvel could be comfortable, it could be in League One, and then like, the Darvel couldn't be in League One. But then
but that's like saying like, I don't know, didn't go into that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But
absolutely not. But this is
it's a Scottish Cup in the end of the day.
Absolutely, but suddenly people are like at them going, they're absolutely well over and stuff like that. But they've not. They've got SPFL standard players in there.
Of course they have. Of course. And if you listen to one of the interviews with David Syme, Boys 24-25, and he says I could go other places.
Yeah.
But Darvel showcase what they're on offer, where they're playing, the ground, the pitch, the atmosphere in the changing room, the players he's going to be playing with, and he says it's a no-brainer. That's press pass deciding to take a walk for itself. I just feel that he got it bang on what he said, and I think that's what you were saying is Darvel do have good players and bigger players, but so do other teams in the lower leagues because they're actually wanting to be a part of something.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that it just wasn't to be. And they'll be back next year. They might even be a lower league team next year by the time they come back. So there's so much promise going in there, and you can say that John's throwing money in, but at the end of the day, he's throwing money in, and they're benefiting, they're reaping the rewards. At the end of the day, he's not throwing money at an empty wall and nothing's happening.
No, so's other clubs as well, though. Other clubs
Of course,
are
yeah,
throwing
of
money
course, yeah.
at.
But bear in mind that, as I've said already, is bear in mind the size of Darvel compared to some of the other clubs in that area. Like
Yeah.
they were 4 years ago, they were a champion, like a second tier West of Scotland team. They
Oh, there's
won.
pictures online. You
Aye,
seen?
aye, exactly. So what they've done and what they're planning to do came up fine as long as it is, and I believe it is, was as long as there's a sustainability plan in place for the long term. Then yeah, absolutely, because it's a small village or town, I should say.
It's a village. It's basically
Well,
a village.
partly not because me and Blair McNally were having this conversation the other week,
I know,
and
but it's like
it
saying like
generally
Benna has
comes
like
out
3 mil
comes
town. Is that
it's
a
a
town, is it?
town. It's a town now, aye. But and it's a town and it's hard to get to, but at the same time, it's a town that the whole town came out to support them.
Yeah, the whole country knows about it
A
now.
lot of young, and at the end of the day, we all know ourselves is that we're used to if you kind of get to your bigger games, because then at the end of the day, it's good for young people to go along, and I think that that's something, especially if they're winning, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to get a lot more people that are interested in Darvel, and not just Darvel are there, we might go there. They're going to get a lot more people invested in going along every week.
Yeah.
And then probably using the bigger team as the second team, if you understand what I mean by that. So I think it's going well, and I think we've seen today that they announced that they're planning to put a 300-seater stand in with both technical areas together.
And the disabled.
Yes, well, that was something John had said on off the ball of the week, that he wasn't happy on the disabled stuff when it came to the doing the stadium up,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the only thing he would change. So I think this has obviously been in the back of his mind as well, but that would be cracking. That's probably what it needs at the same time.
I think you can see that it'll be a stand across the other side from the enclosure.
Yeah.
And then there's definitely going to be room to build at least something behind one of the goals. That'll be the next after that. But that's a massive investment, because you could probably see now that there's going to be room for more hospitality. There's going to be room for probably more things behind the scenes, better facilities to also laundry and all these basic things that you need to have when you're progressing up the leagues.
Definitely.
I mean, the changing rooms are like excellent quality. You know what I mean? These things, you wouldn't accept Albion Rovers, say, have that kind of quality of a changing room. You know, so for me, I look at it, that's good to see that they've got that in place straight after getting two massive crowds. That's it's 6,000 people, man. That's this crazy amount of people, and the money made from the actual Scottish Cup itself. And the money John will be wanting to pump in as well because of the future. He'll be looking at, say, Lowland League. If they do get the Lowland League next year, it's going to be full.
It's got to be tough, but
it's going to be a busy place to come to again. It'll be more and more people will be coming there. Away fans, home fans, obviously travelling, neutrals, whatever it's going to be. And it's good to see that, as you said, the ground is needing it to go to the next stage. It's got to be enclosure. It's got the dugout where it is now. It's got the away dugout. It's just missing that wee bit of, that's a nice place.
One little thing before we move on, is that they challenged us to actually come down to a league game, so we will be down to a league game before the end of the season. So,
who done that?
Jordan and Davey, the general manager. Like, you've got to come along to a league game now. Like, I will come along.
Yeah, I was going to say,
not just the playoff game, because at the end of the day, if there's a playoff game, we'll probably be at that as well.
I'll be on that anyway, but I'll be wearing maroon and
a
jiggly hat in that one. But yeah, so now we'll move on to another team that does play maroon, and it's your beloved Heart and Midlothian. So Hamilton 0, Hearts 2. You were there on the Friday night. It was the first tie of the fifth round.
Yeah, it was bookending the Scottish Cup.
What a crowd, eh?
Again, it was good. There was 1,000 Aki fans as well, which is good. At the end of the day, you can say what you want about them. They're in this stadium that's maybe too big for them. But at the end of the day, from what I've seen at the game and what I've seen in Blair McNally's video, because you don't hear them as much, because where I was sitting anyway, I couldn't hear them. So, but they sounded like they were up for it. Hearts were winning. Hearts controlled most of the game. Like they controlled most of the game, as you'd expect for a team in third place.
Yeah, you expect that, aye. Of course.
So, but at the same time, there was points that they were dangerous. I think when we were making silly subs in the second half, it looked like they were going to get back into the game. And again, we killed it off. It was a professional performance for Hearts. It was frustrating to watch, because we probably could have played a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you do what you need to do. You're in the next round of the cup, so yeah, that's all I can really say. Nielsen got his tactics right in the day.
Mm-hmm.
The substitutions were a bit like they were done at a bingo machine, but aye. Apart from that, that was probably the most frustrating thing because Grant got injured and he brought on Alan Forrest, and he went back to having a midfield three: Snodgrass, Forrest, and Mackay, and you're just like, what are you doing? And then he brings on Cammy Devlin 5 minutes later to correct his change.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
But he didn't, and he takes off Humphreys, and even though Humphreys was making everything stick up front, you're just like, what are you doing? And then he brings on Oda, and Oda done really well, but you're just like, what are you doing? Make these subs in like a sensible way. That's probably my biggest frustration.
No, for me, it's one of them games that you think could have been a wee upset. I mean, you ken the wrath of Livy's plastic pitch it got from a certain player, Humphreys. But he managed to score on this pitch, you know. So
like, obviously, I wasn't on the pitch, so I couldn't tell you, but it looks in a better condition.
You know what it is?
It's the same. It's apparently the same age.
It's got green pellets.
Is that what it is?
Supposedly, aye.
Because it generally it looks like just.
I don't know if it's the same make. I think people are saying it is. I've read about it. I think
it's laid at the same time.
It's laid at the same time, right? But thingy's had Tiger Turf, right, for all these seasons, and Tiger Turf's meant to be the top you can get. I think this is what they play in, obviously, Sweden and all that kind of shit. But I think the one at Livy it's still obviously that quality, but it's not, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, no, definitely.
Aye, so it's now time to talk about Kelly. I mean, Kelly, let's just move on. It's 1-0. They won.
Yeah.
So that's enough.
Keenan's
not here tonight. He was meant to be on, but we'll leave it like that. So another Premiership tie as well, won it. And Kelly came up on top.
Generally, if I was going to say, I thought Dundee United would have maybe done a bit better.
Yeah, I think they were gutted. After the game, you've seen the players and you've seen Foxy, the manager. I think they were pretty gutted by the result, to be honest. Let's move on to, I mean, I think again, kind of flatters the result a bit. Celtic 5, St Mirren 1.
It does. The red card changed the game in that one too, didn't it?
Yeah. So it goes again. Celtic again. I mean, I must add about this stuff that now recently, I think Celtic fans need to get a wee bit of chip off their shoulder. I think they're a bit too far when they're talking about other teams not paying for VAR and other things. I think they're taking things just a wee bit too far with it all, with a revenue of almost £33 million profit. It kind of makes a wee bit of damper on the rest of the league for the teams that we've got. If they're recording this kind of stuff, and even Rangers can't even break even, to say the least. So, yeah, I think they need a wee bit of reality check. And again, they are 5-1 winners against St Mirren, so they went through to the next round. Another one that was a wee bit of tasty tie, actually. It took Ayr 94 minutes, supposedly on the clock, to get a 1-1 draw to go to extra time. Against Elgin. And basically, Elgin should have had probably 2-3 goals, to be honest. Mm-hmm. They were absolutely flying in the highlights when I seen them. And supposedly, as well, a lot of fans were saying after the game that how did they not come out with a win at that game. And basically, yeah, Ayr 4-1 though, went rampant in extra time, which you'd like to expect from a full-time team, high-flying in the Scottish Championship. So, I think that's a deserved win overall for Ayr United.
Yeah.
Elgin again, though, they're a team that's just always just there. You know what I mean? They have maybe a couple of seasons of being high-flying in the league, whether it's League 1 or League 2, lose a couple of players to maybe Inverness or whatever, and they just fall off the face of the earth. But then that would have been an amazing result to get through to that stage of the competition with the teams that are available. But no, we'll move on to another, and this is a big shocker. There's 2 shockers coming up here. Raith Rovers 3, Motherwell 1.
Yeah.
What do you think of that one? I think Raith Rovers are flying in the cup, but they're not really flying in the league.
Yeah, and it's one of these is that you'd think it was a shocker just when how bad Motherwell have been.
They were poor.
Under Stevie Hamill, like they've been absolutely shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And you're listening
really
to what folk are like, folk were saying before the game, and like, that's probably in for a shock the other day. But you're like, at the same time, I'm thinking they probably should still have enough to beat Raith Rovers. I seen Raith in the last round, and they looked all right, but they were playing against the East of Scotland side.
Yeah, exactly.
took them, and it wasn't until it was like into the second half before they took over control. So, at the end of the day, they won three. They managed. They won 3-1. They're in hat, and I think that there's not much else you can say about that, because it's like, without watching most of the game and stuff, because you are going to focus on how bad Motherwell have been. And again, at the moment, Motherwell have, obviously, there's been changes at Motherwell. We'll come on to that.
Mm.
And they're winning at half time currently at the moment in the league. So
yeah,
they probably did need that change. They probably needed that change last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. But at the end of the day, they've made that change now. But at the end of the day, they're still out the cup and Wraither in the next round again. So
for them to go through, we'll talk about an R Cup later on, and they're in that as well. It just shows you that they might be enjoying getting a wee bit of money in the door, as well as they're almost in the playoffs. Like they're always in and out of it. They've been in it at the start of the season, and then they've dropped out of it quite recently, and then they're just slowly but surely picking up again. And I think Ian Murray, as a good manager, I feel that he's the kind of guy that I've said before that I'd happily take him at Livingston. I think it's St Mirren, when he had his time at St Mirren, was just the wrong move at the wrong time. Airdrie, reduced budget every season. It's a hard going. They missed out with a ball here last year with Queen's Park. So, I think with him and Rafe Rovers, I think it'll be a couple of year job. And for his first year so far, to get the players he's got in is no bad. I mean, the same Gonzalez, he's been utter mince for Livingston. And guess what he does? He goes and scores his debut and make it 3-1. So, good on the guy. I always wanted to him succeed at Livingston. I said to Andy many times, and Andy said the same. You get that guy fit, man. He's a threat, and
his attitude was the biggest issue, isn't it?
And I think his attitude to get himself fit is the biggest problem. He's never really shifted his wee bit belly. I can't talk for anybody, but if you're a professional footballer at the end of the day, you're getting it day in, day out.
Your podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I eat pies, he eats chicken and rice. That's about it, innit?
Talking of pies, quickly, just to go back to the very start, Mr. Ammo had 4 pies on Saturday.
All right, so there's an tally up here, have we?
He had 4 pies on Monday.
Right, okay. And how much did Kieran have?
2.
2? Is that when they ran out?
No, well, they ran out as we went back to get more.
Right, surprised you. And that's with less people on the ground, too.
Aye.
You know?
Anyway,
no, we'll move on to that one, but we'll talk about Motherwell in a minute again. Let's go for the other shock. I'm going to talk about very briefly. Decided not to go to the game, decided to do overtime. Livingston 0, Inverness 3. Inverness are turning into the East Fife bogey team that we had in League 1, League 2 years ago. That's twice this season in 2 different cups, and also in the Scottish Cup about 4 years ago up in the Highlands. We got beat 1-0. Me and my dad went for a great away day, and it turned into be a very poor away day at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think I watched the highlights. They're saying the highlights doesn't give the game justice in the sense of how poor Livingston was, but we had majority of chances in the first half. We had pretty much a lot of chances in the second as well. And you know what? We've been too far too long to beat teams at levels. Championship isn't that bad. You know, there's some players in there that are good, but we shouldn't be getting pumped 3-0 how we have. You know what though? Mackay's goals are pretty outstanding, eh?
He's a 4th in the league. Like, you know what I mean? He's on like
I get that, but what I'm trying to say is they took their chances when they got to it. That's the basic you can get out of that game. They took their chances that you wouldn't expect them to ever score. But Mackay had 2 cracking finishes, and even the header from Sean Wells to loop over 6'7" Shamal George is pretty impressive, to say the least.
Yes.
So I'm all for Billy Dodds here. They also got through a bit of controversy on its own. They were officially out.
They were out, aye. They're in the quarterfinals.
And now they're in quarterfinals, aye.
So very, very good.
They've had a lot of history with this cup as well. They've had good history. They've also won it very, very recently. And I think it was at a stage where we just kind of get through fucking past the 5th round, man.
Aye, because you just can't get anywhere near it.
We're a ball here against yous. We should have beat yous that day when it went to extra time in that mind. That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? I think it was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
Last season.
No, it was before COVID as well. We had one.
Aye, we had one before COVID that we won 1-0.
Aye, that's the game I'm talking about.
He's obviously the penalties were last year.
Yeah, penalties one. Aye, no, yeah. So aye, bad day at the office. Bed sheets are coming out, as Andy keeps reminding me.
That's why you've got the background up so that nobody can see what you're writing on the cash.
Aye, that's it. This is my drawing room now too. It's printing press and that. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next round for Inverness and our Chelsea Championship team. I mean, another great game though. Rangers 3, Partick Thistle 2. This is the biggest controversy you've ever seen, your prof. You don't see it very often in modern day football. You've seen it in the past happen.
Rangers getting a penalty against them at home.
Yeah, well, that's a big surprise, and there's been a lot of controversy about that as well. But yeah, I think we'll start off, obviously, Rangers struggling again at home. It's a weird one at home, even in the league.
Yeah.
This doesn't seem to turn up, man.
Unless they're playing Hearts and Hearts make them look amazing.
Aye, no, exactly. You always do that though. We're not going into that one. We'll leave it for another day. But I think the moral of the story here, another championship club playing in the cup, giving it a go. Yeah, they obviously go 1-0 up with a penalty. Probably should have had another goal, to be honest. Rangers did pile the pressure on, but not as much as you think. And then, yeah, they got to go back. But the Tillman thing is bizarre. But I agree with it all. I think Beale's made the right call. I think Tillman is the one that's went down injured. And this is the thing that gets me. He's the one that's went down. It's got to the stage where he shouldn't be getting up like that if he's down injured. You know, he's the one that's got up really quickly. They've put the ball out for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the reason Beale's maybe went, well, no. You can clearly see that they're kicking the ball back to the Rangers centre half or even McGregor in goals. You know what? It's good. It's actually good to see.
Bad touch. It's the bad touch from.
Aye, it is the bad touch. But you know what? As I say, it goes back to the beginning. Why they done it in the first place is because they put the ball out. They're just giving the ball back. Aye, just I don't know. Just for me, just I think they done the right thing.
No, they did, and it was obviously the most cynical side of me is we'd have done it if that was a goal against Celtic.
Yeah, but he said he would.
I think he would.
He said he would.
I think he would. But there's always, I was reading that as like they done it if it's against Celtic and it was stuff like that. But he's right. They don't need that when it comes to winning games.
No. And I think the other thing as well is they've always got that goal in their locker anyway. So he's relying on them to go out there and get obviously the goal, which they did.
Here's the thing as well, is he would have been on a hide into nothing had Bartek been the one to get the winning goal.
Yeah.
So that's it. But no, I agree. I think that the right thing was done. The whole thing, what he said was that Tillman didn't see them put the ball out, so he didn't know that what had happened, so he just assumed it was
a normal throwing in general. Aye. Yeah, so. No, I agree with it all, and hopefully many other people agree with it as well, especially Rangers fans. I think it's a bit of a mixed divide, the people I spoke to anyway.
Yeah. The one wee thing though is that there's a bit of me that kind of wanted McGregor not to let him score, just to see what would happen.
Because I think he was actually going to be honest.
It was. There's a bit in it was not going to let him score.
Definitely a bit that we're thinking he's going to block this here.
This is going out for a corner.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in the next round, which we'll just go on to right this moment in time. I mean, basically, and for some reason, the Scottish Cup's cancelled. By the way,
Was it out?
Well, supposedly the Scottish Cup's just cancelled now. They've decided to remove all the fixtures. Let me have a look. Should we do this live? It's brilliant, eh?
Yeah, great.
Let's go down. There we go. Nah, still not going to show me. They've just taken everything off online. It just says no fixtures available.
I've got the draw here if you want it.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
So it is Falkirk versus Ayr United, Heart and Midlothian versus Celtic, Inverness versus Kilmarnock, and Rangers versus Wraith Rovers. That is your quarter-finals.
Good money ties and a mixture of ties that you think.
Early as well, so it's going to be interesting to see when they all are. Like the Hearts Celtic will probably be the midday game on the Saturday because it'll be the next day, which means I don't think I can go.
Yeah.
I'd imagine you'll put the Celtic Rangers will be the next day. You'll maybe get one the Saturday night and one on the Monday.
Yeah. Well, that'll sum that up. Scottish Cup's always a good spectacle on its own, and it's been definitely worth the watch this weekend.
Hopefully we can go and do something.
Yeah, you'd be looking to maybe get a wee trophy this year at least.
Well, that's it. I always said, I was like, Celtic at home, you feel a bit, it could have been something better, but at the same time, if you want to win the cup, you've got to go and beat one or both of them, so.
Yeah, you've got to go for it. Aye.
Oh, aye, definitely. So there we are.
Now we'll move on to something else. So it's Cups galore here, Cups galore, and we'll move on to the Challenge Cup, now called the SPFL Trust Trophy. It's had many names over the years: Petrofac, Ramsden's, God knows what else it's been called, Coca-Cola, and God.
No, it was Iron Brew.
Oh, that's it, Iron Brew, and so yeah. Now it's just the plain old SPFL Trust Trophy, and basically it was semi-final midweek fixtures. You had Dundee versus Wraith Rovers. And that game, I mean, it was a quick double goal in the space of 5 minutes for Wraith Rovers to bring it back to 2-2. And basically, Wraith Rovers came out on top on penalties. They're through to the final. And another one as well was Hamilton versus Queen of the South. That game went to extra time. I mean, I just missed that there. It was also extra time in the other game as well, but also went straight to penalties after. But this game finished 2-1 in Hamilton Accies in 96th minute from Ryan One or Un or whatever you want to call him.
Armand, do you remember him?
I remember Armand. I'm not going to go.
His laddie.
Is it?
Aye.
Is it really?
16-year-old, aye.
You're joking?
No, seriously.
Oh, Livy need to sign him. just for the nostalgic. This is see how he is, man. Oh, brilliant.
It's his laddie, 16-year-old.
16-year-old, there you go. 16-year-old goes and scores to get his team into the final of the Challenge Cup. I mean, the final's at Falkirk Stadium. There was rumours it was going to be at Livingston, but they've picked Falkirk Stadium instead. Both, obviously, very good stadiums to have a final. But Wraith Rovers, again, they'll probably be favourites in this one, I think.
I would say so. I was reading as well, right, is that they looked at getting the place that had VAR installed already, so
they were looking at that, and I think basically they could set it up in Falkirk in a matter of minutes. So
is that what it was? Because I was at the same time, it's one of these
cameras.
Yeah,
it's just cameras, and basically, I mean, we heard about the thing as well. We've got to touch on a wee bit about obviously some clubs not obviously having VAR in their Scottish Cup games, and basically they said it's too expensive, which
it's 10 grand there.
It's 10 grand a pop, and if you get beat, it's 10 grand go down for.
We've got to have. You've got to you split the cost.
Yeah, but how many clubs are going to say aye to that?
No.
But no, I mean, basically, the final's going to be tasty, I think. I mean, it's a mid-table clash, you could call it, because of where they are in the league. And I think Wraith Rovers have had a really good record in this cup. They also beat Rangers at Easter Road a long time ago in the Ramsden's Cup at the time. And I think also Hamilton's been in a couple of finals quite recently in the last few years. And I generally think the Cup's a great spectacle for the lower leagues because it gives them a chance to lift some silverware. I hate when people tarnish this kind of cup. I mean, there was almost 3,000 at the game against Dundee, which is not a bad crowd for a Wednesday night. And there's also over 1,000 against Hamilton Queen of the South, which is still decent enough for a Tuesday night again.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is good to see. But no, we'll keep an eye on that. I might even maybe go along to the game if I'm up for it. And
what date is it?
It's going to be the 26th of March, 16:15 kickoff on a Sunday, BBC Alba.
So it's going to be live on Alba as well.
BBC Alba. So, Sunday night pretty much.
Is that not an international weekend?
It more than likely is. It normally is.
Because I'm just thinking, it sounds like I don't think
26th of March sounds like a date that you would expect the internationals to be kicking off again. Aye. Let's see how that one goes, and if we do go along,
it is international weekend.
you'll be first to know about we're gone because we'll be posting it everywhere.
St. Kane along with the camera.
Let's go on to
Aye,
a
that'll
couple
be
of sacks. Well, sacked in the morning or sacked at night. I mean, these games.
Just after the game, to be fair.
Aye, well, that's what I'm going to say. We've got one after the game. We've got another one after the game. We'll start off with the Premiership manager. Stevie Hamill took the reins over Graham Alexander at Motherwell at Fir Park, and basically it's not really turned out how it should have turned out for the Motherwell legend. I mean, they've got a decent enough team at Motherwell. I really do think they're a decent enough side. They're just not clicking enough. And basically, in the meantime as well, Alan Burrows has decided to obviously move on to new pastures, and he's taken up the role at Aberdeen.
Yes, I think that's basically last week wasn't the best week for Motherwell fans. I think there was a lot of questioning of the board and everything else because we all knew that Burrows was leaving first and foremost. He said he was going to leave, but he was going to stay. And then obviously Aberdeen came in and got him, but they basically just quickened the process up for him to go. But they seem a bit rudderless when it comes to the manager as well. I think that obviously Hamill's come in, he's been the temporary manager, he's won a few games, he's probably been the easiest option for them.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest option they can have.
I think they're skint as well. I think they're not toiling that much, but I think they're at a stage where they're not the kind of team that can go out and sign these kind of guys that you expect them to. Kelly's meant to be on a handsome wage. Gallagher, when he was at the club's on a handsome bit. Lammy at the moment as well is meant to be one of the highest earners at the club. Slattery, a couple of young guys as well.
I thought they benefited a lot with certain teams not being in the league.
Well, people forget that Motherwell were almost relegated twice in 5 years.
And then, but they also obviously they were second, third. They were fighting out for that spot when Rangers weren't in the league. They were up there when Hearts and Hibs were doing shite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when they weren't in the league either.
Aye, and we've done. So they've obviously had Europe, and this money's now obviously that money's gone. They're fan owned as well, but it seems that there's a lot of not that much transparency coming out for a fan owned team. I've been reading that online as well, but obviously they're in a position where they need to go and get a manager and who's coming in next because it's vital that they do because they have been on a slide. They've got Kettlewell, who technically he's quite a pro. He's as much a proven manager as some of the names we might talk about on the list. You know what I mean? He's done all right at Ross County.
I think at Ross County he kind of got hard done by, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe.
How far can you take a team like Ross County? How far can you attract players without knowing different contacts and different ways of doing it? And I think that's why Mark and Mackay does suit Ross County a bit because he does have that kind of contacts from down south to get an odd wee player up on loan that's needing to have a wee bit of a break. Whereas you look at Stevie Hamill now, it's Motherwell. I know it's hard to say, but you never know. He also has good contacts in Scottish football, but he's starting out in his career. He's starting out in a massive club, a massive history, and it's a fan base that'll no stick by it. It's a fan base that'll say, you know what, nah, I've had enough. Well, and you're starting to see that now with a couple of banners at training ground, a couple of banners at the stadium outside the main office, and basically, I think Motherwell fans, I'd be surprised if there's over 2,000 at the next home game.
Well, it's on the telly against us. It's on the telly against us.
Yeah, it'll be done with the wailing again.
They're at home just now against St Mirren.
Yeah, and they're winning.
So they're 2-1 up. So
it's 2-1 now. So yeah, I don't know. Where do they want to be? Where do they go? I mean, nobody expects Olivia to be fourth in the league, right? So that could be a Motherwell spot. Nobody expects St Johnstone to be doing so well the last maybe 5-6 years. Nobody expects Aberdeen to be sitting where they are in the league either. So
they expect Aberdeen to be higher. They expect Hibs are roughly where they should be, but
the league is this weird this year because there's these massive teams that are spending probably bigger money than half the teams up higher in the league.
Yeah,
it makes you wonder that is there a balance between have a look at your bigger picture. Have a look who you're recruiting in different ways. You don't have to go down south to get all these kind of players. Go down the Championship, do this, do that. And they tried that, and it's kind of backfired on them a bit with a couple of signings. But I mean, Graham Alexander's record was guff, and he still managed to have a job. Only the reason is because of his style of play, got them that odd result that kept them in the top 6.
Yeah,
and they also got that last minute goal against Livy, and managed to get top 6 in Europe, which they were absolutely atrocious, and actually quite embarrassment, as Motherwell fans said themselves. It was a pretty embarrassing way to go out of European football.
yeah.
Do you think, in the sense of Motherwell are a team that maybe needed what Kelly needed today and go down and come back up?
I don't know. The thing is, it's who's out there, eh?
But what do they do though? If they do go down, they'll turn into like a Ross County like years ago. They'll have the biggest budget, they'll have the biggest fan base, and they should stroll it.
Or they'll do. Well, that's what you'd expect Kelly. Kelly should have done last year. It's what Hearts did. It's what Hibs eventually did.
So St Mirren did after a couple of years as well.
You'd expect them to come back up, but
Yeah.
who they get next? Because the next appointment, this is an appointment they probably should have made at the start of the year.
Do you think Jack Ross will get a chance? Do you think that
somewhere? Now this is what we're coming on to. Is who do you think will go next?
But do you think that Jim Goodwin might get a chance quicker than you think? Do you think that John Hughes is going to be getting the chance to come back into management? Do you think it's Stuart Kettlewell's time to maybe get a wee job to the end of the season? There's about 4 or 5 options in this spectrum of just one job, but there also is another job not that far down the road. And we'll move on to that.
Can I
come back to it.
Can I stop you for a second?
Go for it.
This is quite relevant because Aberdeen put a statement out today, and you're going to think to yourself, how is Aberdeen relevant to Motherwell? So Aberdeen are also managerless. They have got Barry Robson in charge temporarily.
That's right.
And Dave Cormack released a statement earlier on today. I don't know how we missed it actually. With the absolute nonsense that we read on Twitter.
Maybe we were blocked by Aberdeen.
What's that?
Maybe we were blocked by Aberdeen.
No, I'm only blocked by one club anyway. So, Chairman Dave Cormack said Aberdeen's recruitment for a new manager is progressing, and with potential candidates being considered against the detailed criteria and philosophy of the club has set out. There's been a high level interest as well as some unfounded speculation. It is vital that we carry out the necessary diligence in drawing up a short list before embarking on any serious talks or interviews. Alan Burrows, who starts as Chief Executive on the 27th of February, will be involved in the next steps. Now, it's important that we take our time and be patient. In the meantime, Barry Robson, supported by Steve Agnew and Scott Anderson, will continue to lead the team, and they're wholly focused on preparations for this Saturday's match. So, first and foremost, if you're Motherwell, you're not going to get anybody in anytime soon because Alan Burrows isn't going to be doing that job for you because he's basically doing it for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So
we'll come on to him in a minute. Well, what we'll do is we'll use the 2 jobs that we're talking about. Partick Thistle will be next, obviously.
Yeah.
And we'll come on to Burrows, and I want to talk about Aberdeen in a different way with him being in the background.
I think that what I was going to say to you was that and just in regard to that whole thing, I think they're basically keeping. That's a way to keep Robson on to the end of the season. I think if
Robson gets a couple of
results. Well, this is the whole thing. I said that at the time is that basically if Robson gets a few results, he'll stay in the season. I think that the same will be with Kettlewell. I think that they'll try and keep Kettlewell for as long as they can.
100%.
If he gets a few good results, the thing is it's so tight at the bottom of that league that it could be a game of musical chairs. And it's basically who's bottom when the music stops.
Yeah.
So you've got, because there's 3 points between Motherwell in 9th and Dundee United in 12th. So I think that could be the case. John Hughes, well, he's been linked with everything. I don't think he's probably going to be the chance. I think Jack Ross has got a chance somewhere, now whether it's here or whether it is Partick Thistle. So we'll move on to them now.
Yeah, let's go on to them. Obviously, Partick Thistle lost their manager in a different circumstance as well, but a bit of a baffling one. But it's already been pre-planned a week ago. The tables keep turning in the boardroom at Partick Thistle, obviously, with a lot of stuff behind the scenes ongoing with it. Another fan-owned club, technically.
Yeah, should be.
Yeah. Partick Thistle are a club that I think are at a stage in their lifetime as well, that it's came at the worst time with COVID and also Colin Weir passing away and all that kind of stuff. So it's not really went well for them behind the scenes as well. They got up through League One, also Championship. I think they've got a squad that's almost good enough to be in the Premiership, depending if they add another couple of people in the door. Ian McCall looked like that was he was the man to do it for the next couple of seasons, and unfortunately the board have decided, whatever board is left anyway, I've decided after the Rangers game that he is out the door. But again, this was meant to be pre-planned. He was meant to be already away before this match and decided not to bother. I mean, they almost got the result of the century, Ibrox, and unfortunately a 3-2 loss. But again, where do they go next? They're sitting 6th, 5th in the league all the time. They didn't really seem to be clicking. Spend a lot of money, to be honest, the players have got. I think they've got one of the biggest budgets in the Championship this year. And I feel the only man that I would maybe pick out of this lot that we've been speaking about is Mr. Jack Ross.
Yes, I think Jack Ross is. I think he'd fancy the Motherwell job for himself more than he'd fancy Thistle.
I do, but I feel his record at St Mirren, what he did at St Mirren, he done double. Kept him up, restructured the club behind the scenes, got them playing good football, signed good players, boom.
I agree, and I totally agree. It's whether his stock is at Motherwell at the moment after how it went at Dundee United, or whether
that's what I'm saying. Is Motherwell looking at him? Are they actually? Are they at the stage where look what happened at a big club like Dundee United? Do we really want to be in that situation as well? But look what happened with Graham Alexander. Decent enough on paper, looks good, but he's not really that good. You know what I mean? So are they at this stage as well, though? Do they need somebody to stable the ship like a Sam Allardyce, Scottish football, like it's Mr. John Hughes?
John Hughes isn't Sam Allardyce. Right, I know that there was somebody on this podcast that isn't here tonight that thought he was the manager of Dundee United. Right?
He still is he not?
Honest to God, right? He's done. I don't think he's going to get another job in Scottish football. There's a reason that he's on the radio and not in the dugout. Eh?
Yeah, I like him on the radio. He is very distinctive. You can when it's him, he's talking.
When it's him,
but he's
at the same
honestly,
time,
stuff he does is class, man. His time at Livy didn't go very well, and there's different reasons for that. But I mean, I think he's the kind of guy that is a part-time guy that comes in, steadies the ship, as I said.
Yeah.
He done it with County, but again, is the right suit for the players that Motherwell have got? That's the question I would say.
I don't think Motherwell's his job. I think
no.
Even though he's applied for the job and he thinks he should get it because he's
but he's going to say that because BBC is going to run the arse out this and say, "Oh, John Hughes," because he's also a part of the punditry team all the time on the radio. And I think the other thing as well you got to think about as well is Goodwin, right? John Goodwin took on a job at Aberdeen. In my view, in Aberdeen is quite funny. It's a poison chalice, right? Yeah. It's a bit like, I don't know, it's like a lot of teams over the years. Dundee United are going through this spell now. I mean, I also think that Motherwell have went through spells like this previously, but I've always been really good under Robinson, and I think it's the same as McInnes for Aberdeen. You don't know what you've lost until it's gone.
Yeah.
I feel at this moment in time, Goodwin might look to say, I need a bit of time, but look what happened to Glass. And the same thing's happened to Goodwin. Mm-hmm. The Aberdeen budget and the players they've got are decent enough players to do a job. Goodwin's been successful at St Mirren with probably less than half the budget Aberdeen have got. And that's the way I'm looking at it. I think Goodwin might want to, I'll take another job now. If it goes Pete Tong, again, he's probably looking at coming down again and having a big break in between.
I think Goodwin isn't going anywhere to at least the end of the season because he's still getting paid for Aberdeen. So
yeah, there is a thing of that as well, but there's also agreements to be put in place for that. And again, that lies with maybe Alan Burrows.
Mm-hmm. We'll see because obviously Burrows is going there now. So it's one of these is that technically he's now going to be involved in picking this manager when obviously the team that he's leaving need a new manager as well. So Is there a conflict of interest there?
Yeah, it could be a wee bit. Could be a wee bit. Do you also feel that maybe this time, I'm not saying this time, there's been lots of times, I think Davy Martindale might get a shout for something this time?
Because like yes and no. Yes, because where he's in the league, but no, because he doesn't fit in any of the structures.
No.
He's not going to work with a football monitoring board that Aberdeen and whatever that is. And
Oh no, I wouldn't say Aberdeen. I'm more looking at also the Motherwell situation.
see, at the moment he probably would fit. He probably could go and do a job for Motherwell.
Yeah,
because Motherwell need the director, like something in there to reshape the club at the same time. But why would you unsettle yourself to go to Motherwell? Like he's not going to go to Partick. Let's knock that out of the head. Like, but why?
leave me on bed sheets, mate. That's all.
Partick are probably a bigger club. Like, no disrespect, but Partick probably are overall a bigger club than Livingston. But
yeah,
mid-table in the Championship when he's
exactly.
fourth. So, and you're not going to at this moment in time leave Livingston to go to Motherwell for the same reason that you're fourth in the league and got a European spot. And then compared to you're going to be fighting off relegation. So he's not going anywhere either because at this moment in time, if they're going to pick managers, if they're cherry picking managers, they'll be cherry picking managers for teams below them. So it'll be teams from if there's anyone below them in the league, in the top league or at the top of the championship. So if there's maybe anyone at the top of the championship, they could maybe take there. As for Partick Thistle, then probably something similar. Look for somebody, it's either somebody out with a job or someone around them because of the size of the club that Thistle actually is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what actually happens with that.
The thing is,
like, speculate at the moment, isn't it?
The thing is, as well, you think that obviously Coyle's just went. He's not long in at Queen's Park, and he's building something there. So, could he be tempted to go to Motherwell, former player?
Yeah, former manager of massive clubs, to be honest.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, he didn't have the greatest spell when he was at Ross County the last time.
Yeah, but that was probably understandable in different situations, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. Obviously, I think Aberdeen will go down the route of keeping Robson to end the season if a couple of results come his way. I think, but Alan Burrows, will move on to him just really quickly. I think that's a massive coup for Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I think McCormack is probably Cormac's in this situation, right? Of what do I need next? He's got loads of these kind of players that came in, big money, paid for players, not good enough. He needs somebody now behind the scenes, and he's the man. Burrows has done wonders at Motherwell last year. The stadium's looking the best it's ever had, supposedly, because of the investment that he's organised to put in place, years and years of funding. And I think Aberdeen at the stage where Aberdeen will get a new stadium. They will. Whether it'll happen in my lifetime is a different story. But we'll see what happens. But they will get a new stadium, and I think this is where the structure comes. Burrows has took maybe Motherwell as far as he can. Leanne Debster thought the same thing at maybe Hibs, and look where she went. So it's a balance. It's a you know what I mean. She came from
Motherwell at Hibs.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. How far can you take certain clubs? And I think Burrows has been there for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And he's always the kind of guy that speaks about Scottish football quite highly, obviously, talks about other stuff. Aberdeen's an absolute lure to come up here. We'll treat you this, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. And honestly, I feel that he could change Aberdeen. He could put this new thing that McInnes did and get them back on track on and off the pitch without a manager at the moment. And it just shows you he's obviously been put in place in February. So they obviously really want him, eh?
Yeah, they do. You're right. You do. If you're going to build something, you need to have that in place first before you get a manager. And that's what, as I said about Motherwell needs somebody like that before they can go and find a manager. Because if you go and find a manager and then find a director and they can't work together, then you're back at square one.
Yeah, again, Burrows has worked with lots of guys. You know what I mean? I mean, some of them have been bluffs, some of them have been amazing managers. Stephen Robinson, for example, is now at St Mirren doing wonders with them as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Mirren finished top 6 as well with Livy. And it just shows you, again, with McInnes as well, a bit more funding at Killie. It just shows you there'll be room to improve in different ways. But Motherwell, again, you've seen the quality of players as I'm talking about Motherwell. Same kind of thing at Partick as well. Partick are still attracting these kind of players in the now without big name managers. Yeah. Ian McCall's a big name, but he's not that kind of name you go, oh wow,
Yeah, exactly.
anymore. So now we'll move on from that one, and I think we will definitely be coming back to it in the next couple of weeks, because I think one of the clubs at least will be with a new manager. So we'll move on to lower leagues. I mean, we're going lower. We're going to obviously tier 5, tier 6, and bottom of tier 9 or whatever else is involved with this one here. But we're going to go to Camelon Rangers. They've appointed a new assistant manager, Ian Duran. What do you think of that, Andy? It's pretty impressive in some ways.
At the moment, we're used to some players dropping down from into those tiers, but you're never dropping. Like, that's a massive name. Like, he is a massive name. He was number 2, number 3 at Rangers at one point. Okay, it was
he's been at East Stirling, he's been at Dumbarton, he's been loads of these kind of wee clubs as well round about, and to drop down to Camelon, there's also bigger teams in that league that you'd maybe expect them to go, and to pick a team like that have just lost quite a lot of players in the summer.
Yes.
And also Tom to Darville last season as well. David Simon used to play for them, and I think the guy that got sent off, McGowan, he obviously came from there as well. So there's big restructures. A lot of these smaller clubs, and I mean, it's like two players in it. If you get a good assistant manager, you're going to get contacts in the door, hopefully.
Well, that's it.
But no, it's good to see that maybe the lower leagues are attracting assistants, managers, coaches, and players to come down and give it a try and see what it's all about. Going on, also, we talked about Darville earlier on. It's good to see that they are also building that stand. But we'll move on to, I mean, we're going to the last drop on earth in the East of Scotland League. We're going to the bottom division.
That's not the bottom.
Sorry. They were the bottom division.
They're now
flew away with that league last year, along with Whitburn. But now, sitting second in the league as well. And, well, they kind of field the team for the last 3 games.
All went to Pete Tong for Syngenta.
It did indeed. Andy, take it away.
So, Syngenta. Now, anybody we might know that Syngenta have a rich history of being a juvenile team. They've got they've got a rich history in bringing through youngsters up to a certain level. Now, prior to becoming East of Scotland, they entered a team into the Scottish Juniors, which was technically a separate entity. And this was initially for a pathway for their under-20s to play football and for wherever they wanted to go from there. It very quickly became, when Steve Allison got involved. Now I'm naming him because he's going to link quite heavily in a few minutes. So he got involved and that quickly tied up. They jumped into the East of Scotland and basically they went into the 4th tier last season and they blew away with it. Basically, they blew away with the whole shebang. Fast forward to last week, and basically they weren't able to field a team. And since then, there has been statements galore. So I'm just going to get you the statements. I'm trying to find them at the moment because it turns out that the Syngenta, the East of Scotland team, had told the juvenile board that they were terminating their agreement at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that. Their first team and their under-20s. Since then, though, the under-20s, and they have not fielded a team because a lot of them have left, and a lot of them have now gone to Camelon.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a few players in Camelon, a couple of players on Saturday that played for Camelon who had come from Syngenta. And fast forward to today, where the man Steve Allison, who resigned on Monday from Syngenta, has been as director of football, has been appointed the Camelon director of football, and there has been work carried out starting on the ground as well, which will probably carry out through into the pre-season too. So there we have it. Now Syngenta technically are still third in the league because the East of Scotland haven't done anything about it yet.
Yeah,
because they've not. I don't know if they've officially resigned at the moment.
They haven't. I think there must be a glimmer of hope somewhere. And I think if they do resign, I think it's a case of obviously they have to start down at the very bottom again if they want to come back in. But there might be something in the wee contract terms and conditions, the small print that nobody reads, There might be a thing they need to wait at least a whole season or something.
Well, listen, I don't think. Well, from what I understand and what I've read, I don't think the juveniles have any intention of ever coming back. Like,
No, but this is the thing. If you even talk about the bigger picture, the whole team, the whole structure, to not be a part of what they set up down at Little Cares and what the project was down at Little Cares in general,
aye,
it just shows you like it just stinks of shit.
well, it does. Aye,
It's just one of the moments you think it was a fairy tale last year when they got up with Whitburn. Now it's at the opposite end of the spectrum where the club is. It's a bit like what we talked about with Darvel a wee bit. They're talking about sustainability and how can they go forward.
from what I've read as well,
Paid, do they? You know what I mean?
I'm taking a lot of this for pie and Bovril, but from what I'm reading as well is that it looks like their intentions were always to leave Syngenta at the end of the season. So probably if they'd went anywhere, they'd have been renamed. From what I understand, is that if they'd got to where they want, if they'd got to where they wanted,
yeah,
managed to see the season out, I think they were moving to Little Cares.
Yeah.
And they would have been playing out of there. Instead, they've now basically went to Camelon with the league above, mid-table in the league above, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, a lot of that they'll be moving from there. But I think another telling sign was that the juveniles earlier on in the month, now they would have been well aware of what the East of Scotland team were preparing, had actually signed a deal with East of Scotland fourth tier side Bonus Athletic for the juveniles as a pathway into there. So I think that's quite telling that Syngenta had decided that they weren't going to deal with it. Now they're still third, as I said, in the league. Obviously, their results will be, when they do resign, will be then deleted. So it'll be a mix up and see what it is. I'm not brain enough to try and work that out.
No, I think it'll be an interesting story for the East of Scotland League in general. I think it'll be interesting what is in their rule book, as I say. You look what happened when ineligible players field the pitch. Obviously, it's an automatic 1-0 win as such, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be the same. Well, I think they'll just delete the scores because it's not fair on the teams that haven't played them.
Yeah, so the result, if they get beat, this is the thing. It's you've played that many games now. We're into February, and you're going to turn around and say a team that's sitting third in the league now has not played, say, 3 or 4 games. It's very hard to tell a team that's maybe been beat 6-0 off them that, you got beat, but you're still not going to get any points.
But that result comes out. It's they don't. So if you get beat for Syngenta, you don't lose out. It's the teams that have beat Syngenta are the teams that will lose out.
So this is what I'm saying. It switches both ways.
So for example, if you're a team like say St Andrews who are now above them, 2 points above them, say they beat them home and away, then they lose 6 points, and then like Almaston Rangers, who are fourth on 43 points, so technically then go second because if Syngenta have beat them. So it's one of these, is that the East of Scotland need to decide what they're actually doing. They need to come out and give clarity, because the East of Scotland they're not transparent either. They don't come out and tell you what's happening.
No, they didn't. It's quite a lot of things. It could be better, but you know what I mean? They're just protecting themselves as well. They don't want to see a member of their league kind of not turn up for games for numerous different reasons, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stuff to this story that will meet the eye, and it'll be interesting to see how long it continues before something gets said that they're disbanding and they'll be no longer in the East of Scotland leagues.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for listening. It's been a pleasure as always. Also, it's just me and Andy tonight. Hopefully we'll get all 4 of us back on and we'll do a wee quiz as we usually do. We'll all miss out tonight because it's a bit pointless, just like the TV show. So we'll crack on with a wee bit at the end here. It'll be interesting to see how many times we need to do this over the next few weeks. Yeah, we're Part the Bus and we are sponsored by Starner. It is also starting as an independent fashion brand from Scotland. We create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. They're inspired by the terrace culture, lifestyle and music. All of their clothing is designed using quality materials and workmanship to combine the very best style and fit for you. Basically, all this means is you get premium quality fashion and also at affordable prices. Will you enjoy a simple and secure service? It is that simple. But yeah, we're Part the Bus and we are sponsored by Starner. It is also starting as an independent fashion brand from Scotland. We create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. They're inspired by the terrace culture, lifestyle, and music. All of their clothing is designed using quality materials and workmanship to combine the very best style and fit for you. Basically, all this means is you get premium quality fashion and also at affordable prices. Will you enjoy a simple and secure service? It is that simple. So, but yeah, we're part of the bus and we are sponsored by Starner. It is also starting as an independent fashion brand from Scotland. We create high quality and stylish attire for on and off the terraces. They're inspired by the terrace culture, lifestyle, and music. All of their clothing is designed using quality materials and workmanship to combine the very best style and fit for you. Basically, all this means is you get premium quality fashion and also at affordable prices. Will you enjoy a simple and secure service? Fingers type in this address here, www.starnerapparel.co.uk, and you can get 10% off using code PartTheBusPod. That gets you 10% off with a wee promo code exclusive for our listeners. So basically, Andy, it's been another eventful week. We've got a vlog out right this moment in time. Get yourself on it. It's a good one. Get the popcorn out. Get a beer cracked open and enjoy the moment. Getting pumped. But no, it's good. Also, a normal podcast is also on all streaming sites as usual for our website. All links will be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The usual slot will always be posting on them. And give us a like, a follow, and a wee share. Much appreciated. So it's a bye for me.
No. Let's stop. Let's stop for a second.
How?
Well, because this is episode 100, right?
Is it?
Yes, this is episode 100.
Very good.
So the Darvel vlog became 99. This is now episode 100. So I was going back earlier on today, and I've worked out who's done the most pods, but I'm going to save it for when the four of us are on for a quiz.
All right.
But basically, going back and listening in, remember the very first one? You listened back today?
I did.
Because I did. And
it turned into, I may as well call it Part of the Bus COVID special.
Hiya, I'm Carrie. I'm a Fluffy fan. Hiya, I'm Ewan. I'm a Hibby. Hiya, I'm Kieran. I support Kelly.
It's not actually that bad. I was listening to it. It wasn't actually that bad.
It's like
it's just no tune. There's no kind of there's no genre. There's no nothing. It's
no. I'm Kieran.
We're gonna go to the fucking grounds because the fucking asshole doesn't let us in.
And then you're just like, oh my god, you're talking about Dempster. There was one I was going back listening to.
Yeah, Dempster one, man. He's used like that. Went, I'm going to miss her so much and that. Ken.
He's talking about this one of them, and it's one where McInnes gets sacked, and somebody comes out with a line with getting the sheep's lost their shepherd.
It's you, and I think he loves that saying, eh?
I was like, oh my god.
He loves that. And then there's other ones all the way through it all when we're talking about fucking farmer track roads and that.
Farm track roads and waterways.
Aye. Yeah, there's plenty of my taglines, certainly, that's for sure.
That was definitely your one, but
that's my one.
Joined. These were 21 episodes in when I joined.
So who is technically? He's a hand. Who? It's
a quiz. I can't tell you who's.
Isn't it a quiz out of it?
I've got a quiz. It's a bit of a quiz out of this.
Right,
so it's a question as part of the quiz.
Right. Okay.
So I can't tell you. Apart from the four of us, no one else has had more than two, though. No one else has had more than two appearances.
Right.
Can you guess who the folk with two appearances are? Two of them.
Two of them?
Two of them with two appearances.
For two appearances?
Yep. So there's two people that have had two appearances. So everybody that's been on. So whether it's like, so even
whether it's anybody, aye. Right.
Aye.
Well, I ken one of them.
So there was obviously, because obviously Stuart and Rab, they got one each, for example. Best one.
Yep, I know who one of them is then.
Right, go on then.
Stevie.
Yep.
And there's one more person, there's another one, two. Two.
It's been on two podcasts, yep. I'll give you a hint, he's filmed them back, he's recorded them back to back.
Ethan.
Yes.
There you go.
So that's what it is.
Oh, very good.
But it's quite interesting going back and listening and everything else, because you start with the first one going, I don't know where this is going to take us and everything else.
No,
And
I know.
now we're on YouTube.
Yeah, it's interesting. Makes
Now
it
we're on
more
YouTube.
interesting because you can watch it on, just look what we're doing, and
Vlogs and everything, like doing vlogs at fucking Scottish Cup games and
yeah,
things like that.
it's crazy. It's been good, and also with Stan on that as well. It's good to have that on board.
We had
It's good
Brennan
to,
Bakers.
yeah, exactly. It's just on top of everything that's happened over the last maybe 4 or 5 years for everybody in life in general. It's interesting, eh?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
interesting how quickly things can change.
I wanted to bring that up. This is episode 100. I mean, it's shite that there's no 4 of them, but Kieran's been a shite bag and watching his telly.
But he's not just watching anything on the telly though.
No, he's not. He's watching our vlog on his
He's
telly.
watching his own vlog he did for about fucking 6 hours, but he's wanting to watch it all back that I edited today. Aye. So, no, thanks to everyone for listening. That was a wee bit deliberate there to see what happens. So, nah, it's been good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just, we're just on top of the world at the moment. We're just going to keep flying and keep getting content out.
Yeah.
So, this time, it's a bye for me.
Well, it's just a bye for me.
There you go. Sorted. Thanks, folks. Enjoy, share, and listen. Cheers.